How do you go from this
His first pitch of the game, Seager goes, he pitches in
to this?
So, swing it. Tipped into the.
Bryan Woo has somehow managed to turn around one of the worst starts in MLB history into 3 consecutive pretty good starts, I would say. Bryan Woo, pitcher for the Seattle Mariners, made his major league debut on June 3rd against the Texas Rangers. He was thrown into the fire. An injury to left-handed pitcher Marco Gonzalez forced the Mariners' hand and called Bryan Woo up from AA Arkansas. In this debut, Bryan Woo only went 2 innings, threw 47 pitches, and ended this game with a 27 ERA. He gave up 6 earned across 7 hits. He struck out 4 and walked 1. Bryan Woo was ambushed early and often, albeit by a Texas Rangers lineup who was clicking on all cylinders at the time, and they're still playing really good ball to this day, almost 3 weeks later. So what went wrong for Bryan Woo in this start? Well, if you look at the pitch mix here, he's just kind of in the middle of the zone, and we'll touch on more on that later on. Moving forward to his second start against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Bryan Woo went 4 2/3 and threw 81 pitches. He gave up 4 hits, 2 earned runs, so he finished his game with a 3.86 ERA and struck out 7 and only walked 1 batter. Bryan Woo definitely stepped up his game in the second start, whether that is, the Angels offense not being nearly as good as the Rangers offense, I would say. He did strike out Mike Trout in this game, which is really exciting to see, but he did give up a bomb to Shohei Ohtani. He was doing pretty well. His pitch count wasn't too bad, but at this point in the game, in that 5th inning, the goal was for him to not have to go through the heart of the order one more time. Overall, Bryan Woo definitely grew from his first start into the second one, and there was lots to like about this start against the Angels, but there's even more to like about against his start against the Chicago White Sox. On Friday, June 16th, Bryan Woo went 5 2/3 and struck out 9 White Sox, only allowing 2 earned runs, meaning that he had a 3.18 ERA. I didn't mention any walks because he didn't walk anybody. He went 9 strikeouts to 0 walks, which is a great accomplishment for Bryan Woo. The White Sox, as we know, they're not nearly as good of a team as the Angels or the Rangers, so 3rd on this list in terms of offense. That's not to knock Bryan Woo in any way, but they are a little bit less of a competition for Bryan Woo to go up against, and I think just continuing to grow each start, it helps out that he's not facing the Texas Rangers again necessarily. Now, the 4th start, the one we've all been anticipating the entire week after the New York Yankees went up 2-0 in this series against the Mariners while we're visiting Yankee Stadium. Billy McKinney and Jake Bauers terrorized George Kirby and Luis Castillo. Our Mariners aces, we thought would be able to go in and shut down this New York Yankees lineup, kind of got hit around a little bit more than we would have thought. Now, they didn't give up overly a bunch of runs. It wasn't like they went and got bombarded like Bryan Woo did against the Rangers or Bryce Miller did against the Rangers, or even the last time we played the Yankees. However, Bryan Woo pitched better than those 2 guys against the Yankees in this series. Yeah, I just said that. Make sure you like and subscribe while you're on your way down there to the comment section to go tell me how Woo didn't pitch better than George Kirby. Bryan Woo, 5 1/3. Over 93 pitches, which is his career high, did not give up an earned run against the Yankees. Hell, he didn't even give up a hit until the 5th inning. He struck out 5, but he did have a little bit of a command issue in this game, it felt like, and walked 3 batters. So I would say this start falls right behind the White Sox in terms of quality. However, he did get his first major league win, so congrats to Bryan Woo on saving this series, essentially, preventing it from being a sweep. But let's dive a bit deeper into why he's continued to grow each and every start. So we have to go back to the beginning. In the beginning, the Rangers had a 95.6 miles per hour exit velocity against Bryan Woo. That's pretty high. It's not really ideal. And I'd say that has a lot to do with where his pitches were located. We look at the pitch mix, I mentioned it earlier, he's all around the middle of the zone. And in this start specifically, he has a 55.6% hard hit percentage, so they went 5 for 9 on balls in play or hard hit. There were 0 barrels in this game, which was very surprising. I would have figured the Rangers would have been barreling him up the entire game, but no barrels. The Rangers were hitting .538, 7 hits across 13 at-bats against Bryan Woo. The ball just was not finding gloves. It was not finding fielders. Bryan Woo might have gotten BABIP'd, but overall, he just got ambushed out of that start by the Texas Rangers. Fast forward to the Angels again. His exit velocities dropped about 4 miles per hour off the Angels' bats. Means that they're not hitting the ball nearly as hard. I'm going to attribute that to his pitch location. He's able to mix and match a little bit more. Granted, there's just more data to look at here in terms of volume of pitches, but you're lasting longer in the start, meaning you're not giving up nearly as many hits, runs, and balls being hard hit. However, in this start, it's the same amount, 5 hard hit balls, but a little bit more balls in play here for 11. For a 45.5 hard hit percentage, there were 2 barrels in this game, 2 barrels across 11 chances, which is an 18.2%, but the Angels were only batting .222 as a team against Bryan Woo in this start. Bryan Woo was able to limit the damage, and being able to bounce back after an awful start like that against the Rangers shows great resolve for Bryan Woo on the mound, and this would continue again into the White Sox start like I mentioned before. His exit velocity would drop down to 85.2 in this start, meaning that it's 10 miles less than what it was against the Rangers. And he limited the White Sox batters to 3 hits across 20 at-bats for a 150 batting average. They did manage to have 2 barrels, which were probably the 2 home runs that he gave up in this game, but his hard hit percentage was down to 27% against the White Sox. So overall, Bryan Woo, you look at the pitch mix, he's able to just go in and out, up and down a lot more in this game, and he's probably feeling a little bit more confident on the mound and based around his tunneling here. And it just goes to show how far he's come after just one extra start in between an awful one and one like this where he's striking out 9 batters across 17 recorded outs. And as over half the batters he faced, he ended up striking out. Now, in the Yankees game, I mentioned they had 0 hits through 5 innings. Gave up 0 earned runs. The Yankees hit 111, 2 for 18 in chances against Bryan Woo in this game. No barrels. I'm surprised the Anthony Rizzo one wasn't a barrel because that was scorched, but alas. And a hard hit percentage for 23.1%. 3 for 13 for Bryan Woo in this game. Now, somehow, someway, Bryan Woo has slowly lowered his hard hit percentage in every single start. Gonna attribute this a lot to his pitch location. Look at it here against the Yankees. There's just a lot to like about where this pitch chart is at. And if Bryan Woo can continue like this, I don't see another start like the one against the Rangers happening anytime soon. We didn't know if the Mariners were going to let Bryan Woo continue to run it back out there after that Rangers series. Obviously, we knew that it wasn't just going to be one and done, but if it had continued that rough stretch, Bryan Woo might have not seen another start in the major leagues. But it's great to see the confidence build. He's been able to run the fastball in on right-handed batters, go after guys a little bit more. Got a power changeup that just falls right out of the zone. It looks like about the same as his fastball, yet it's going to drop a lot more, even more than his sinker that's got great run on it. Overall, I'm loving what I've seen out of Bryan Woo after his first start. He's got to let him develop, the peacock. You got to let him fly on this one. And Bryan Woo, he's soaring to new heights, it seems, and it was able to secure one game in the Bronx, which is great to see. Now, hopefully we can continue this momentum in this 10-2 win, by the way. The Mariners offense erupted in the final game against the Yankees and carry this into Baltimore. We've got a video on the screen right now detailing how pivotal this road trip will be by the end of the year. Make sure you watch that one if you haven't already. Thank you guys for watching this one. Go Mariners.